Hello and welcome to Radiant Realization with Namrata. Here we deep dive into captivating conversations about life. Today I have with me Dr. Srinidhi. She empowers women with toddler to achieve their goals and aspirations. She helps women break free from their limiting beliefs, build emotional resilience, and create a work-life balance. Welcome, Nidhi. I'm pleased to have you today.
Thank you so much, Namrata, for inviting me.
Today, we are going to talk about how emotions impact our physical health, mental health, and even our day to day life. So, Srinidhi, what got you started to focus so much on emotion and help women deal with their emotion?
Yeah. So I think it's a very important question to set the pace for the entire podcast. So thank you for asking me that question because I chose this, especially the emotional resilience topic, because I saw that during the COVID period, most of the people were having being troubled by lots of the things and especially getting impacted by the emotions. And even after the COVID, they had lots of impact on the health, relationships, career, and the wealth. So I chose this niche because many of the working women and mother myself, I understand that unique challenges that we face in balancing the work, family, and also the personal well-being. And I really wanted to empower women because during that time I had learned from many of my mentors. And then I understood that we really need to prioritize the emotional and the physical health, which actually helps us lead a lot more fulfilling life with a kid. Because even if we earn back all the things, if we do not have the peace in our own mind, then gone. Like it leads to nowhere, right? So from then I saw that many people were asking for the same thing. So that's when I started picking up this niche and started working on it. And I think I have crossed 2,000 people now. Like I have helped more than 2,000 women now from the last 3 to 4 years.
Amazing. Uh, and Srinidhi, what we label emotion as positive and negative emotion. So, what are this emotion trying to tell us?
Okay. Basically, when I learned it from my mentors and my teachers, so the emotions basically, we can, if I can explain it in a different way, so it's the deep emotion and the shallow emotion. So, deep emotions are the emotions which actually help us empower and boost up our whole soul and mind and body. And the shallow emotions are which actually pulls us down. So, for example, the deep emotions can be, you're feeling happy, you're feeling contentful and satisfied about whatever you're doing. For example, for mothers, it could be, cooking good food for the kids. And if they have the food nicely, like they complete the entire food on the plate, mother feels happy, right? It's a deep emotion for a mother. It's a very happy emotion for a mother, and a satisfaction that comes out of it. A shallow emotion would be like a kid being so cranky while mother is working on an important task and she couldn't handle herself and she get irritated, she get frustrated, and she may shout, she may not be able to handle both of that, and it causes a kind of imbalance, and that comes as a shallow emotion. So this is the distinction. So these emotions basically help us understand how the well-being of a person is, and the positive and emotions are similar, like the deep emotion, how deep the person how deep the emotions are impacting that person, and how they are serving that person to be a lot more happier, lot being contentful and satisfied, rather than being, drained or exhausted or irritated or frustrated. Yeah.
How does this emotions influence our physical body?
So if I have to tell you, for example, the shallow emotion, which I have told you, right? Like a mother, if she is continuously working, especially the working women, handling the work and handling the child, handling the household things. So the women sometimes feel kind of rush in her own body. Her heart rate increases and the sugar levels drops down, and sometimes the immune system, it would not be that strong. And also the posture, it changes, because if you see people around, the people who are really self-confident, they have a very, very strong body posture. And a person who has low self-confidence, they'll be bent like this. And there's lots of signs that we can tell, like how the emotions have a strong impact on the body. And I think these days, because of the stress, that's the word which we use most of the times, so that's actually causing lots and lots of the problems, especially the blood pressure. And also, it lowers or higher the blood pressure, and also it helps in increasing the sugar levels in our body, so which causes again to diabetes. It's basically a lifestyle disease, right? So there are many more diseases as such.
Hmm. Okay. And Shrinji, there are some emotions like fear, guilt,
Mm,
anger.
yeah.
How do they impact us?
So if we say that fear is one such thing, if a mother is super scared of the child, what happens to my child when I'm working? What happens if I do this? What happens if I do that? What happens if I work and family members are not happy because I'm not able to address all the needs? When such things come up in our mind, the fear which sprouts from that, it builds up the palpitations, the heart palpitations, and also it increases the stress hormones, through which will the mother be able to sleep properly? Thinking about all this, the sleep impacts, and it builds the anxiety, it builds the depression slowly, and it creates the gut issues, the digestive issues basically. And as I told, the weakness, or like it weakens the immune system altogether. So the fear, shame, guilt, whatever emotion that we carry, it slowly impacts our health in these ways. And also, if I have to tell it in the chakra term, like we have the 7 chakras in our body, even those get impacted. So whenever we see that there are slightly the digestive issues or the acid reflux and all that stuff, it's something
Hmm.
related to the guilt, we can say that. And if it's something with respect to the shame, that comes up as the anxiety, the depression, holding back, suppressing of the emotions, and you see all that issues in the gut. And if there is,
Hmm.
sometimes mothers may not be able to take decisions, or any person, if they are in that confused state, it's like basically the Mooladhara chakra, it gets impacted. So yeah, definitely, like there are lots of impacts with these negative emotions, especially the
Hmm.
physical consequences, as we discuss now. Yeah. And
Hmm.
basically, recognizing and identifying these emotions is really, really, really crucial for preventing the long term physical damage, not only the physical part of our well being, but also the emotional part of our well being.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, lot of times, what happens, Srinidhi, in our day-to-day life, we are so occupied with whatever are the demands of the day that we miss out on those emotional triggers that are impacting us.
Yeah.
So, if you can explain what are these emotional triggers and how do we recognize them?
So the simplest one would be, if a mother or a woman or any person, there could be no reason. There could be, like, if a child is just walking, and we assume that we have a feeling of distortion that child may fall, and when we suddenly scream with that fear, saying that you may fall, those are the small inner triggers, emotional triggers. That's our fear, and we impose it on the child. And if someone says a word, let's say for most of the women, if they say that like, what are you doing for me, what have you contributed to the home, right? So they'll be thinking that I'm doing entire work for the home. And why is this person asking me? There is no appreciation, no recognition. That's a trigger. That's a valid trigger, but that's a trigger for her. And sometimes when people say certain specific words, like you are an idiot, you have a gray hair, or you are dark, or these things are also the emotional triggers. These are the
Hmm.
sensitive points for few of the people. It could vary. The emotional triggers will vary for person to person. But yes, these are some of the emotional triggers. And if we are being judged all the time, who likes being judged all the time? No one, right? So that's a kind of emotional trigger. And how do we handle them? It's by identifying those emotions, recognizing those emotions. Like, when am I getting triggered? What's making me angry? What's making me sad? What's making me disheartened? What's making me hurt? What's making me cry? What's making me suicidal? Or identifying those emotions will help you understand that what we are actually going through. Otherwise, we think that I am doing everything, but the other person is not understanding me. But when there is lack sometimes within us, we'll have to point out towards our own selves and ask what is that we are missing from our end and what is that we need to do for our own selves, so that we can identify, manage those emotions, and we can empathize with our own selves, not in a pity way, but rather in an empowering way that helps us build that strong relationship with our own selves and also with the people around, right? If you understand those emotions, when you
Hmm.
fulfill your own emotions, when you handle it better. So next time when some person comes and tells that you are dark or you're overweight, you're obese, so you're not taking care of your health properly, but that mother, poor mother, will be working day long and she may not be able to take care of her own selves. And she'll feel that, oh yeah, I'm not looking good. Self-confidence gone, right? So those are the triggers. And once we identify them, we would not know that those are the triggers. That's what we are going through, right? So once we identify those, once we learn how to handle them, then it helps us build that emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, and emotional intelligence builds. And that's how it leads to the emotional resilience.
Actually, a lot of times it so happens that this emotional turmoil is brewing inside, but we are not able to understand. So, what should a woman look into who is not well versed about the emotional side of her personality and is not in touch with her emotion? I
Yeah. So, for example, for many of the women, especially mothers or whoever it is, even the
mm,
men,
mm,
if you might have noticed in your surroundings or anyone around, so some people might be just going into the kitchen, randomly grabbing the things whenever they feel anxious, especially
mm,
sweets or any of
mm,
the fried item or the salty food. So
mm,
we start picking that and we start eating, right? That is one way, like that is one sign. And the second one is the sleep patterns. A sleep pattern actually changes. They will not be able to sleep. Insomnia
mm,
starts, and lots of mood swings, lots of irritation. For no reason, we get angry and we think that what's making me feel this, right?
mm,
And sometimes we just withdraw from people. We do not even attend the events. We do not even feel like going, but we will go, and just because we have to go, kind of, but not with that kind of interest. And some other things could be stomach pain, bloating issues, and headaches, the muscle tension, shortness of breath. If we ask few people to breathe and just observe them, observe their body language, it could be the breath could be very short. It wouldn't even reach their abdomen. When we ask to inhale deeply, and the abdomen just bulges out, but it's not the air completely going in. And while exhalation, it would be very short, like quickly they exhale it out. So
mm,
these are the, like, shortness of breath is also one another thing. They hold so much tension within. Like, what would happen? I have to do it. I have to do many things.
mm,
I have so many responsibilities to fulfill. So these actually manifest in that way, in the physical pain. I mean, the
mm.
physical consequences of our body.
Actually, the one common thing that happens with most of the women is if the environment is not supportive to their life, maybe in-laws, partner, or whosoever, it's very easy for them to get into this angry mindset and displaying your anger, and the person who is the victim is usually the kids of the family. So, what I would like to know from you is how is this anger impacting that woman, and also how is mother's anger impacting her child?
So, uh, this actually is a very interesting question, an important question, because in Telugu we have, like, okay, let's say your anger is your own enemy, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's like if the other person is angry, and we would be triggered by the other's anger, and even we would show the angry side of us. And if you're not able to show it on that person, we carry that emotion and we show it on whoever it is. And as a child who doesn't, we know that for child we are the only one. Even if we beat, even if we scold, even if we scream, the child is going to come back to us. We have taken them granted, right? We know that they would be coming back to us. And ultimately, mothers often show anger on them. That's how the cycle is, right? And so in order to address this, I think we have very beautiful and simple ways through which we can bring back the control of such emotions, especially feeling satisfied, feeling contentful. We have NLP practice, like some of the NLP techniques. One is belief transfer technique, that's what we call it. So that technique actually helps a mother to cope up very quickly uh, in order to manage her anger. And the other one would be gratitude practice. I've mentioned it many times, even in my conversations and also other videos. So it's like practicing gratitude every single day would actually take your energy from low to high, and it also helps you shift the perspective. I told you about the deep emotion and the shallow emotions, right? So it helps a person to build from like that emotional strength from the shallow emotions to the deep emotions, because we'll start appreciating what is good for us, what is happening already for us, and what we are blessed with. Otherwise, being occupied with lots of things in the environment, it could be the household stuff, office work, the child, you know, lots of stuff around, we would not appreciate our own selves. We would not be even grateful to our own body. And we would take that also for granted, right? In order to understand and cope up, we cannot ask others to always change for us. They would not do it. What do? We do some certain things for our own selves that helps us keep that emotional peace. Like you'll have the peace at your emotional level. So when you have the peace, how do you operate? You work, you handle things in a lot better way. If you're stressed and tensed, how do you handle? You'll be carrying out the same mode in that way, right? You would not be happily addressing the kid or whatever it is, even it is in-laws. If you're stressed out, whenever we are not good with the in-laws, whenever something triggers with the in-laws, it's basically our emotional trigger which we need to handle. It could be in some cases, it could be the other way around, but in most of the cases, if we have like a better environment, or we can handle certain things by expressing gratitude, by practicing gratitude, by doing affirmations, which helps us handle those situations in a better way. We cannot, because we cannot escape or ask the strangers to not comment all that stuff, right? If we go to a function, people would say lots of stuff. Would we be asking them to stop, or would we should be handling them in a proper way? And how do we do that? When we practice the gratitude, when we practice these affirmations, and in NLP we do have the belief transfer technique. These things will actually help a person to lower those negative emotions or the shallow emotions and build up this deep emotions. And when the deep emotions are high, there is a lot of good chances that we will be in a better note, rather than showing our emotions, getting into that emotional drama and showing that on the child. If we are thankful to a child every single day, I don't think we'll be showing all that anger, right? And as a
Yes.
mother,
Yeah.
I think it's very important for us to be there for them, not in terms of anger, irritation, frustration, but for that love. I think that's the minimum thing and the best thing that even we would like to have in our life. So I think whenever as a mother we are, even not even as a mother, like whoever it is, whenever we feel anger, just take out your book, take out a paper, and just start journaling everything. What's making you angry? What are these emotional triggers? What are these emotional cues that's making you feel this? And is it really good? What is the next consequence? If you're beating your child now, or if you're showing all that anger, how would you feel after 1 year or 2 years or 10 years later? It's not building up discipline, or it's not building up that love for you and for your child. So when we think about the consequence, I think we would not take that step of showing anger,
No.
because basically it's carrying out the emotion. And I've seen there are people who carry lots of patterns for so long time. I've like, those patterns would carry for years together. And whenever they meet even good people, they think that, okay, this person might be telling this for me. All this comes up. And for that, we can practice lot like healing techniques. It's super simple, and you can see the immediate impact on the person. They behave in a very better way. And once we start behaving well with our own selves, automatically the environment also starts changing for us, right?
Mm.
Because if we go and sit in a better place, would we behave better or would we behave the worst? We would automatically behave the better, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it is.
You would have noticed there are a lot of women who are being told not to express themselves, like uh, especially when they are staying in a joint family. You are not allowed to talk. You don't have to say anything when you are angry or when you are upset. And many times a lot of people are brought up with this mindset, which is more around suppressing emotions. So
Yeah.
how does this impact individual's life and the growth that one wants to experience?
So I have to tell you that I think suppressing the emotions could impact you in both the ways. Like, one, out of pain, you can grow out. Otherwise, you dip. It's like a downward spiral, going and sinking very deep that you cannot come out. We can definitely come out, but if we are not aware of what's happening, and when we are in the loop of thinking the same thing, why is this person telling? I have to suppress this emotion. I have to not tell. I want to tell that I'm actually suffering, but I cannot tell that. I want to say no, but I cannot tell no. I do not like this to be given to my child. I do not want to pass such different things to my child. Rather, I want to pass good values to my child, but it's not happening. If we are suppressing all that stuff, what happens basically, as I told you, we would it would slowly manifest into the physical consequences, and it weakens
Mm,
our immune system, as I told. And there are many people who actually suppress lots of feelings and would feel so stressed and so depressed. They're not happy. They are just working. That's all.
mm.
Yeah.
And when we are not in touch with our emotions and we are not able to express our emotion, being in this unhealthy emotional state, how does this impact our relationship with loved ones?
Mother cannot express. She suppressed all her emotions, and she knows the child would anyways come back. She might not even know that she's showing that on the child, and she may show all that anger, stress, anxiety, everything on the child. And it's poor sleep quality also comes back. And also, the risk of depression and anxiety is more. Sometimes, it turns into some or the other pain in the body, and that definitely would impact many of the relationships. In fact, the relationship with ourselves first, because we would not be kind and empathetic to our own selves. Do we treat ourselves well when we are angry? Some people, they hit themselves, right, when they are angry. They would not eat
Self-harming.
food. Yeah. So those things happen. And is that good for themselves? No, it builds the unhealthy relationship with their own self. And like, this is one beautiful thing which I learned from my mentor like almost 4 years back. That is, if you want to have the really very good relationships, I think the first important relationship is with our own selves. So like the relationship with my own self is the first, then the relationship with the people around and the close circle. And if we take care of this and the relationship with the other circle, the outside world becomes a lot better. So we'll have to build that relationship with our own selves in a better way so that we handle our kids and the close ones really well. And when we do that, we have that satisfaction, because the source of love and affection, I think, it starts with the parents, right? And kids automatically role model their parents. And when that happens, then even they spread the similar kind of emotions, the deep emotions rather than the shallow emotions. When that happens, I think the world becomes better for ourselves, in fact.
And when we are in a good place where emotionally we are healthy, we are able to understand our emotions, we are able to understand our triggers. How does this impact our ability to communicate in relationship?
So, you'll be at least understanding the emotional maturity, the emotional quotient of the person increases. When the emotional quotient of a person increases, um, we would not be in that loop of same thoughts, right? Okay, this person is hurting me. Why have this person told me this word? When I have done something good for her, why is she always pointing me out? Why is she always nagging behind me? Why is she always complaining? Why is she always judging? Why is she always criticizing? We would not enter into that loop. Because I'm not sure if you have met any of such people, but a person might have told or criticized the mother or a woman or a girl like 10, 15 years back, saying that uh, this dress doesn't suit you, this color doesn't suit you. Then we would take it to the heart, and we just, feel that, okay, nothing suits me. We conclude, we make it the identity for our own selves. Right. So we would not enter into that loop, rather, because the relationship with our own selves improves, then we will know, okay, that is the impression of the other person and it's not my thing. But yeah, I can handle it in a better way by just giving that own space and respecting your own space.
Mm. On a so Srinidhi, on a regular basis, what practices can be incorporated in our day-to-day life so emotionally we are in a mature state and we are able to maintain good relation with our loved ones?
So I think one important practice which I practice it almost for many years is gratitude journaling. So as soon as we wake up in the morning, I think the first thing which we need to do is expressing gratitude. Maintain a small journal and write down the gratitude, at least 10 things that I'm grateful to God for giving me food, shelter, clothing, wealth, and health. I'm grateful to my child for, being so loving and affectionate with me. And I'm so grateful to my office colleagues for supporting me with work. I'm so grateful for my organization for paying me salary on time. These are the small things which we even forget, and we enter into the complaining zone. So gratitude one is one such important practice that I think I urge everyone, to do it. And the second one is practicing the, you know, proper boundary setting. The boundary setting, when we build it, initially we may feel uncomfortable because we are not really good with our own selves. Like, we do not set boundaries to our own selves. Rather, we harm and hurt our own selves by not saying no, right? By not respecting our own selves. But once we start setting those boundaries, you will also respect your own space and other space, and with that helps, build the relationships in a better way, and you know what to give and what not to give, because you know the boundaries. And journaling is another thing, as I told. Whenever you feel angry and whenever you have the track of what you're exactly feeling, then I think it builds that emotional awareness in such a way that if you practice it for 7 days, then you will see that, okay, is this really needed? Is this really serving me? And then you'll just strike it off. Okay, whenever this happens, I just need to ignore it. Or maybe you can express it in a better way and ask the person in a polite way that, "Oh, why are you doing this with me? Is there something wrong?" Expressing that, because we do not ask, but rather we assume lots of things and then we screw up everything, right? So I think expressing, asking, that is also important. And one important thing, like one practice which I make, people do, is having the balanced and imbalanced perspective, right? So it's like we have negative and positive emotions. So similarly, with a person, we have the balanced and imbalanced perspectives. Sometimes we may get angry with some of their actions, and sometimes we really, like those actions of others. We forget about the balanced perspective and we focus on the imbalanced perspective, and we see that so so deeply that we start hating the person. We start building anger towards that person. So when we practice the balanced and imbalanced perspective, like writing down what are the things that you love doing with that person, that you enjoy with that person, and what are the things that are actually not making any sense, rather they're creating some kind of negative impact on you. When you list them down, you will know, like, how you'll automatically start accepting that person in a better way.
Mm.
It's like having the two sides of the coin.
Srinidhi, a lot of times it's so noticed in a society around us that women do take an effort to build that emotional awareness and go into that emotional state. But as a couple, when they are there, how can she support her partner, husband, so she's able to create that safe space and also help husband to create a safe space for her to express herself? So what can couple do so as a couple they are emotionally resilient and not that only one partner in that relationship is emotionally resilient?
Yeah. So one thing, as I told you now, is about having the balanced and imbalanced perspective, right? Because it could be our parents, or it could be our relatives, or it could be anyone that whomever we meet. So when we have that balanced and imbalanced perspective, the chances of having the bigger conflicts would be reduced. And the second thing, the emotions or the patterns, the emotional patterns that we carry, we show everything with our close ones, especially the spouse. And when we handle and address those emotional triggers or emotional patterns, we start, we come out of that and we will be a healed person. And once we are a healed person, we wouldn't carry those to the other person. So I think it starts with ourselves first, and having the common agenda, or having that proper boundaries, and respect, balancing the yin and yang energies, basically the feminine and masculine energy. Because sometimes, at least in the current society, women, uh, we work uh, during office hours, we work in the home, we work everything, like in most of the places we are doing lots of stuff, and we become more masculine in nature. It's like milestone oriented. We want to achieve this, we want to achieve that, we want to do this, we want to do that. And when the opposite person, when the spouse is taking care of people at home, sometimes over a period of time we may enter into the zone that, why is this person like this, why is he not goal oriented, I do not like this people, he's not of my kind of. So the mismatch of yin and yang energy happens, and that's where we'll have to bring that balance again. In yin and yang energy, it's like feminine and masculine energy of our own selves. Because every person, like if you're born as a girl, feminine is higher, and masculine, it should be balanced in such a way that we handle the opposite gender in a better way. So these are the things I think we need to, be really aware, so that we do not enter into such disagreements.
And Srinidhi, what can couple do on as a daily ritual or action point that the husband is able to increase his masculine energy and wife is able to increase her feminine energy? There's strong bonding between them.
So expressing is one such thing. We we do not express, rather we just go on. And women like to hear, connect emotionally. When that emotional connection wouldn't happen, then we feel that, right? So I think in order to raise the masculine energy, like simple things would be, um, wearing different colors. Colors also help. Men usually would be sticking to the blue color or the black color, but trying the different color combinations, and acknowledging, bringing something to the wife, those all things matter. And for the feminine energy, it's all about expressing art, mindfulness, being, meditative things. Those things actually bring back that feminine nature, because we forget about those things. And then we lose out that feminine nature in us, and we become so goal oriented that even we lose ourselves. Because feminine energy is all about the flow, right? The art, the flow, creative aspects. So indirectly we suppress that. So I will have to handle those that way.
I would say, Srinidhi, thank you so much for coming and sharing your views and making audience aware about importance of emotion. How do we handle our emotion, recognize those triggers, transfer those emotion in a productive way, build a good relationship with our spouse. I'm really thankful to you sharing your views, wisdom, and all your insights today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me, Namrata. Really kind of you. Thank you so much.
To all the audience member here who are listening to this podcast, just let us know what are your key takeaways from this discussion and how is this going to help you lead a better life for yourself and for your family. Looking forward to reading all your comments in the comment box below. Thank you so much.